Chapter 3 of Mary's Grammar. Adjectives. Lesson 4. The following morning, Mary came running into her mamma's room with her grammar in hand as usual. "Well, Mamma, what am I to learn today?" she said. "I begin to like my grammar," and observing her mother smile, she added, "Yes, indeed. Really, and especially now that there are stories belonging to it." "I'm very glad to hear it," answered her mother. "Today you shall learn what an adjective is." "Pray explain it, Mamma, for it is a very hard word. Let us first see what the grammar says about it, Mary." And she read, "An adjective is a word added to a noun to express its quality, as a good child, a pretty toy." "Oh, but Mamma, I do not know what to express its quality means. You must tell me all about it, or I shall never understand it. Can you not explain it by some little story? I do not mean quite a whole story, but something like a story. That always makes me understand it." "You mean by example, I suppose," said her mother. "Well, let me think. When I walked out this morning, I saw a pony cantering along the road. What sort of pony was it, Mamma?" "Was it a little brown pony like Coco?" "No, my dear. It was a pretty, spirited, gray pony, but larger than Coco. Now your grammar says that an adjective expresses the quality of the noun. The quality means what sort of noun it is. The pony is a noun. Cannot you tell me what sort of pony it was that I have been describing?" "You said, Mamma, that it was a pretty, gray, spirited pony, larger than Coco." "Well then, pretty, gray, spirited, and larger are adjectives, for they are qualities of the noun pony, and serve to distinguish it from other ponies. If when you asked me what sort of pony it was, I should reply, 'It has 4 legs with hooves and a head,' would that satisfy you?" "No, indeed, for all ponies have legs and hooves and a head, so I should not know what sort of pony it was, if you made such an answer." "Well then, you see that it is necessary to find out something that distinguishes one pony from another, such as being gray and pretty. And to give you an idea of its size by saying that it is larger than Coco. Distinctions of this kind are called qualities. But, Mamma, there are many other ponies that are pretty, gray, and larger than Coco." "That is true, and the pony I have seen is one of those. The adjective does not point out qualities which distinguish one pony from all others, but qualities which distinguish some ponies from other ponies." "But suppose," said Mary, "the pony had some quality so very strange that no other pony in the whole world was like it. Suppose it had wings. That would distinguish it from all other ponies." "I should then call it a monster, Mary, and not a pony, for no pony has wings. Cato, our black dog, must be an adjective, Mamma, because black distinguishes him from dogs of another color." "No, dog, you know, is a noun, but black is an adjective put before the noun to show one of its distinguishing qualities. Thus, blue is an adjective put before your frock to show what is the color of your frock. And in the evening, white will be the adjective of my frock, Mamma, because you know I wear a white frock in the afternoon. And are pink and yellow and all colors adjectives? Yes, and not only colors, but every word that shows any quality of the noun. For instance, you are a little girl. Oh, yes, said Mary. Little is an adjective because it shows what sort of girl I am, but I shall have another adjective when I am older. It will be a great girl. And I hope you may add a good girl, said her mamma. Then, for if you are attentive to your lessons, perhaps you may have the adjective clever joined with your name. Oh, mamma, exclaimed Mary suddenly. Look at that naughty kitten. She has been playing with my new ball of scarlet worsted and spoiling it. You have just said 3 adjectives, said her mother. Try if you can recollect them. Mary thought a little while she wound up the worsted which she had saved from the claws of the kitten, and then said, naughty kitten, new ball, and scarlet worsted. Well, mamma, I do think everything is an adjective. You made the same observation upon nouns, Mary, and then you were right, for things are nouns, but there is not a single thing that is an adjective. True, said Mary. If it is a thing, it must be a noun, and the same word cannot be both a noun and an adjective, too. No, replied her mother. Kitten, ball, and worsted are nouns, and the adjectives naughty, new, and scarlet describe the qualities of those nouns. The lesson finished here, for Mamma declared that there was yet enough to say on adjectives to occupy them another morning. Lesson 5. The next morning Mary came running into the room holding a new box in her hand. Look, Mamma, she said, what a pretty box I'm going to give to Sophie. And she laid an emphasis on pretty to show that she understood it was an adjective. It is indeed, said her mother, but yet I think my work-box is prettier. Oh, to be sure, Mamma, but then the new box Aunt Howard gave me is the prettiest of all. So then, Mary, one box is pretty, another is prettier, and the third is prettiest. And are all of these pretties adjectives, Mamma? Yes, when you allow that my box is prettier than the box you hold, you compare the 2 boxes together, do not you? Certainly, replied Mary, and when I say my new box is prettiest, I compare it with the other 2 boxes, though it is not here. Then you can easily understand why the adjectives pretty, prettier, and prettiest are called degrees of comparison. Oh, yes, because the 3 boxes are compared one with the other. Look at this large book, Mamma, said Mary, taking up one from the table. But there is another still larger. I can hardly lift it, it is so heavy. Now I must look over all the books to find the largest, and then I shall have the 3 degrees of comparison. Now let me compare something that is little. Here is a little key on your bunch of keys, Mamma. I do not think it's a very small one, my dear. No, but then you know I want to find a littler and littlest to show the degrees of comparison. But Mary, in this case, you should not say littler and littlest, but less and least. Ah, so I should, said Mary. I thought littler and littlest did not sound right. In general, if you add the syllable To the adjective, it gives you the term of comparison. As tall, taller, small, smaller. And when you add the syllable est, it gives you the other degree of comparison. As tall, tallest, small, smallest. But there are many exceptions to this rule. Yes, replied Mary, for I could not say little, littler, littlest for the keys, but I might have said small, smaller, smallest. Suppose I were to say, you are a good child, Mary. What are the terms of comparison for good? I do not know, for you cannot say gooder and goodest, I am sure. No, replied her mother, but think a little, and you will find them out. Mary was puzzled. At last she thought of some good cake she had eaten the evening before, when she had been to play with her cousins, and then some cake she had eaten at home, which she liked still better. And then she exclaimed, "Oh, now I have found it out. Good cake, better cake, and best cake. Those are the 3 degrees of comparison. And, Mamma," added she, "I dare say that you will find out that I shall be a good girl, a better girl, and a best girl at last." "I shall be very glad if I do," said her mother, smiling. "But tell me, did you eat much of this good cake with your cousins?" "I believe I did, Mamma, but Charles ate more." "Oh, I am afraid Charles was a little greedy boy," said her mother. "No, it was Harry who was the greedy boy, for he ate the most of all." "Ah, those are the 3 degrees of comparison. Much, more, most. I ate much cake, Charles more, and Harry most." The degrees of comparison in adjectives of more than 2 syllables, said her mother, are usually formed by the addition of the words more and most, for it would be tiresome to lengthen out the words that have already 3 or 4 syllables. Thus, if you say an agreeable woman, you cannot say an agreeabler woman or an agreeablest woman. "No, indeed," replied Mary, "that would sound very disagreeable. But you may say a more agreeable woman and a most agreeable woman, and you may say a sensible man or a more sensible man and a most sensible man." "Now," said her mother, "I will tell you the names of these degrees of comparison. The first is called positive. If I say this fire is hot, I mean that it is positively hot. But if I say the fire in the dining room is hotter, then I compare the fire in the drawing room with the fire in the dining room. And therefore, this degree of comparison is called comparative. But where shall we find the hottest fire in the house, Mary?" "Oh, in the kitchen, Mamma, where the cook roasts the meat and dresses all the dinner." "Well, then, the kitchen fire is hottest, and hottest is called the superlative degree, which means that it is above the others." "But, Mamma, when you said this fire is hot, you did not compare it with any other fire. So how can hot be a degree of comparison?" "What you observe is very true, Mary, correctly speaking. The positive adjective is not a degree of comparison. I will now write down a few of these terms of comparison." And she wrote as follows: positive, comparative, superlative. Rich, richer, richest. Wise, wiser, wisest. Large, larger, largest. Nice, nicer, nicest. New, newer, newest. And pray, Mamma, said Mary, write down some of the adjectives you cannot put and s to. You know what I mean. You mean, replied her mother, when it is necessary to change the word in order to express the degree of comparison. Then she wrote, positive, comparative, superlative, good, better, best, bad, worse, worst, little, less, least, much, more, most. And there the lesson ended. End of chapter 3.